Are you ready?
I think so.
Ready? We're gonna do a clap to get the audio set up. Oh no, you can't do the clap. One person has to do the clap.
Why can't I be the one person to do the clap? That wasn't very good either.
Bad clap.
One more?
Sure.
There we go.
It's the BS Podcast Web Show!
Welcome back to the BS Show. We took a brief hiatus because we're not essential workers, obviously. But I know our 12 viewers out there missed us a little bit. Unfortunately, Brandon is not on the show today. Don't quite know where he is. He hasn't been active on the social media and stuff, so I don't know where he is. So if you have any information on Brandon names, please put it in the description below so we can find him. Because right now, it's just the S Show.
When do we
it's the shit show.
Put out a missing person? Have you heard from him at all?
I've heard from him, but I haven't seen him active on other people's Snapchats or even his own Snapchat. So he's very busy he's developing an app. So I think he's very busy with that. It's gone a long way. It's called Filtari. It's like an app that you can detect uses of drugs and alcohol and photos on social media for corporate businesses and stuff to keep him.
So he's helping the corporate world prevent people from using drugs.
Or at least hiring people
that use drugs.
That
at some point in their life have used drugs.
At some point in their life have used drugs. Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I would definitely not get a job after Filtari comes out. So you're screwing me, Brandon. But we miss you, and when you want to come back, let's do something. Anyway, Joe Troba is on the set. He's my brother.
Yeah. Two
redheads on a podcast. I looked it up. It's never happened before.
Not surprising. There's not very many of us left, so.
You actually think that we're going to go extinct?
It's not true.
I don't think that's true
either. It's definitively not true. It's a mutation. So it's a dominant gene that shows up over fair hair colors. So if you have light brown or blonde hair, you can actually... I wonder if I'm wrong and I'm talking on this podcast.
It's okay.
I'm full of shit.
It's called the BS Show for a reason.
Red hair is a different gene than hair color. So it's an additional gene, and it can be present in people with dark hair, and it doesn't present itself because you can't see the red tone over the rest of it.
It's interesting to see people have red beards. Some people have dark brown hair, and they have really thick red beards.
Yeah, it sucks because they don't have to be a ginger, but they can have red beards. It's the coolest thing. I can't even grow a good beard. It's not fair.
Me either. It's pretty bad. But our dad said, you don't have to get a real job until you can grow a full beard. So
I've got 5 or 10 years.
Some years left, bro. But anyway, we usually do a rundown on the coronavirus and things that have been going on and current events, kind of like that stuff. And there's been a lot of stuff going on about the coronavirus, even despite a little dead few weeks of it, developing and stuff. Mm-hmm. But there's been protests going on, and I think that's the most absurd thing in the world. Because you look back at protests that the U.S. government has handled, and you look back on protests that people of this nation have had to go through to get voting rights and stuff. And you see black and white videos of it, and it's a protest. It's an intense protest, and it's tough as hell to get through that stuff. And you see people outside the governor's office scattered around, holding up signs saying we don't want to be quarantined anymore.
The funny thing was in Texas, they weren't even they were gonna end or start to end quarantine before they were going to do the protest, and they still did their protest.
Do people just want power?
No, they just want to make noise and be seen. Everyone just wants to be seen, but...
Everybody wants to be somebody.
Yeah. There's some pretty funny memes about it, though.
Yeah? Do you have any?
I have some...
We can put them on after.
Okay. Yeah. But the one that I liked the best was a picture of a doomsday prepper. He's I could survive 8 months without leaving this bunker. 2 weeks into quarantine. Let me out!
It's crazy. I mean, we mentioned this in previous episodes, but this is the 11th episode, by the way. That's pretty good. 11 episodes, 40 minutes around each. We're doing pretty good.
First double-digit prime number.
Yeah. There we go. What's the next one? 17? 13. Yeah. Clearly, you're the smart brother in the relationship.
You got to 13 pretty quick.
Yeah. Math was my strong suit. I was going over some old... me and Mom were going over some old first and second grade, art projects and stuff like that. And math was the only project I was good at. Only subject where I was like excelling. The other ones I was just moderate or whatever. You know that.
Oh yeah, when they did the weird grading system. They didn't want to give everybody excelling. So if you were excelling at everything, they would still give you like it was exceeds expectations was E.
Yeah.
And then M is meets expectations, and SP was showing progress. P means progressing, and then there was like a U or something.
Why did they do that? Why is that?
Because it does represent school is about like progress. Yeah, you're supposed to be learning. It's not about knowing things.
Gotcha.
So the current grading system is like, or the current and old grading system with A, B, C is showing what you know. Gotcha. Which makes sense for exams, but it doesn't really say how you are as a student.
Gotcha. Especially
in elementary school, because a lot of kids who get a lot of education at home already, they can come in and they already know everything they need to know.
That's true. I was surprised at how much poetry. Excuse me. I was surprised at how much poetry we had. There's a lot of poetry projects, which I was looking through some of them, and you're like learning how to do poetry and different kinds of poetry. And there's like kind of contradiction in my mind because poetry is supposed to be like, you know, free flowing and whatever you want. But then there's rules. There's rules and grades to poetry. It was interesting. Like a haiku. I don't really necessarily even know the I don't even necessarily know like the rules to a haiku. It's like 3 lines.
3, 5, 7, 5 or something
like that.
I don't know.
But it was just interesting to see how much poetry we were told.
Is poetry that important? It's like, I mean, it's an art and it is important, but
here we can get 3. Hey, come here, Mary.
3 gingers in a podcast.
Where's Lucy at?
She's more of a blonde, I'd say.
Okay, now you're good. Now you can get out. We usually get interrupted each podcast. That was a little forced one, but it's okay.
You gotta make do in quarantine.
Yeah.
But anyway, there is like freeform poetry too that doesn't rhyme and it's just kind of like artistic and that's more modern. So there is what you're saying.
For sure. Parks Jones, if he's been in a few videos, he recently came out with a book, a poetry book. It's really good. Really good. He talks about a lot of relatable things to people our age. Usually guys our age, but you know, about relationships and struggles about trying to be a person in this world.
Yeah.
But he did a really good job. And
what was his name?
Parks Jones. Yeah, he was in some videos before. He's a surfer dude.
Okay.
Very artsy, but anyway, we can go on. I thought an interesting thing. It's the 26th right now of April, but on the 25th of April, yesterday, there was this famous video of this guy named Rick Monday.
Doing out there. It looks like he's going to burn a flag, and Rick Monday runs and takes it away from him. And so Monday, I think a guy was going to set fire to the American flag. Can you imagine that? Raced over and took...
Was 2 protesters ran out in the middle of Cubs center field and tried to light a flag on fire, and he ran in and grabbed it and ran off the field. And so I was like, that's an interesting way of, in a baseball game, just lighting a flag in the middle of center field.
Was it the anniversary of it? Or
yeah, anniversary. It didn't actually happen.
Oh, okay.
Do you think we'll have a baseball season this year?
No.
Me either.
I don't know. I have like concert tickets at Red Rocks this summer. I don't think that's going to happen.
I
think Halsey, Black Bear, and Paris.
It should be fun. I heard Red Rocks is pretty fun.
I'm very excited. All 3 of them are like in my top 10. You don't really get a concert where everyone's in your top 10.
Once you go to a festival.
Right, but not everyone's in your top 10. That's the thing is there's no one else who I've like haven't heard of yet. Or I mean, it's good to hear new music too.
Yeah. Festivals are crazy. There's so many. There's so many festivals.
Have you been to one?
I went to one in Paris. I went to the Lollapalooza, European Lollapalooza, which was a lot of fun. But never really like not really like a stereotypical one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down to go. I love concerts. I appreciate it. I was convinced. I was kind of like a skeptic of a concert. Like, why do I want to sit there and watch? You know, as a young kid growing up, I wasn't really that interested. But as you go to more and more, you like it more and more. I think so.
I really love live music. I'm not like a lot of people identify as being into music, and then that's definitely not me. I really enjoy it, but it's just part of my life. It's not my whole life.
Live music is
But seeing new people live, I think. Like I went to Odessa. She's from Minnesota. She raps, but she's basically a poet. Dessa. Dessa.
Really? Because there's a band called Odessa.
Right.
Odessa.
That's SCA. But it's Dessa, or she's Dessa, and she was so good. It was like really intellectual rap, and it was just very thought provoking, and she was good in live,
sure.
and I hadn't heard of her, and I just love going to see someone.
Yeah, there's not a lot of thought-provoking rap out there.
I don't know if that's true.
There is. Okay, I'm speaking broadly, but I was listening to Lil Uzi Vert's rap the other day, and he was just rhyming things with like pop and top and like it was very simple. It was just like 3 words, boom, 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 and it was not very intellectually pleasing.
It wasn't like the content of the words, but like ancient music, there were no lyrics; there were just instruments, and it was still an art form because of the sound. So I think if you're looking at even modern rap, if it sounds good, it's music and it's art. It doesn't have to, because it can make you feel things that are not necessarily what's being said. No, so words in themselves, if you take away their meaning and you just look at their sound, can be kind of beautiful too.
You're right. I was a hater. I'm a hater naturally. I want what I can't have, and when I get it, I don't want it anymore. That's a good rap right there. Oof.
That one's thought-provoking though.
Yeah.
That's good apple juice, Sean. Thanks.
Yeah. What do you think of? Do you think you can taste the difference between Coors, Miller, and Bud?
I can taste the difference between Coors.
Like, you're blindfolded.
Coors, you can taste like there's like a hint of like that artificial banana flavor. I don't know why it's there. That's not like a liquid thing, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I can taste the difference between Miller and Coors and Miller and Bud, but I can taste the difference between
Coors and the two.
No, Coors, and I don't know. I don't have Miller that often because I live right by Coors, so I drink Coors all the time.
It's really regional. Like, apparently in Wisconsin, Miller Lite's a big thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just...
I think it's pockets of areas, too, where it's just, like, the drink people drink.
For sure.
And if it's the first thing you're introduced to, like, the first beer I was introduced to really was PBR. So, like, I still have a soft spot for PBR.
Gotcha. I think we grew up, Dad was drinking Miller Lite. I remember Miller Lite bottles being a thing.
Okay. I mean, I didn't drink his alcohol, though, when I was little. I drank... When I was on climbing trips, I would drink PBR because other climbers drink PBR.
Oh, okay. Well, back to the Corona thing. Do you really think that injecting disinfectant could be a possible solution for a cure?
If those suggesting it tried it, it might solve some other problems, but I don't think it's going to heal coronavirus.
No, I don't think so either. But, like we said, he was being sarcastic, so, you can't take anything seriously now, I guess. I mean, you just say the whole past few years have been sarcastic, really.
That would be funny, though.
Yeah.
In, 10 years.
The biggest joke ever
If they just
played.
came out and be like, gotcha! Yeah. Where it's like, oh, he was funny the whole time.
Yeah. The SNL video we watched earlier with Brad Pitt, that was pretty good. I'm showing a little clip right now.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Good evening. Now, there's been a lot of misinformation out there about the virus.
They're going to have vaccines, I think, relatively soon.
Relatively soon is an interesting phrase. Relative to the entire history of Earth, sure.
And the tests are beautiful.
Okay, a couple of things. I don't know if I would describe the test as beautiful, unless your idea of beauty is having a cotton swab tickle your brain.
There was a lot of FaceTime jokes, like people FaceTiming people, and it was just like...
I think if they made the show shorter, and because there's always hits and misses, I think, with SNL.
For sure. You only have to have 2 good skits to be a good episode, really.
Yeah. And I think they had 2 good skits, right?
For sure.
I only saw the 2 you showed me, but...
They were good.
They were both good, so... It's also hard to know what's going to be a hit or miss in comedy, I think. I don't know.
It is. I'm not doing a very good job. People are not liking my jokes recently.
It's because your jokes haven't been as funny recently.
Yeah, I think I'm forcing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like you're trying to deliver, volume. It's kind of like exact same thing I was saying with SNL. I know with YouTube and other stuff, you have to put a lot of stuff out there to keep getting, repeated views and stuff. I don't know how the algorithms work.
I don't know how it works either. And you always talk to that one guy who you meet randomly that knows the algorithm. And it's always something along the same lines, but a little different. And it's like, do you really know? It's tough without getting a little bit of a sponsor these days, I feel like. But the bottom line is I do it for fun. It's just it's a puzzle for me. It's just really some people like to read a book. Some people like to sit there and do a puzzle. I like to think of something funny and try and make it into some medium.
Do you think you're kind of losing the humor because you're trying to I need to make a video this week, and you're not just letting it happen? Because your old videos were super organic because you just had an idea and you did the video. There was no time crunch. You wanted to get it done, so you got it done.
No, absolutely.
So I think if you go back to that and do it at your own pace, It's like writer's block almost, except you're still writing, which I guess is what they tell writers to do when you have writer's block, is just to write. So I guess you're still making stuff, but
yeah,
it hasn't been that bad either. I know I'm sounding like I'm really critical of your recent stuff, but
no, I mean I'm very critical of mine.
That's good. You should be,
because it's hard not to look at the likes and views and be like, what the like that was well put together. It had a good punchline.
Oh, the likes to view ratio.
Yeah, but also just like interactions. Like you get so much analytics these days in like YouTube and stuff. I don't even like pay attention anymore. Like I almost don't even want to like. It's almost like I'm doing it. It's weird because there's one rap lyric. It's like it's a heroin high to make a good song because like it's really exciting to make a good song. It's really exciting to make good content, and then when you come up with the next time you do heroin, I'm speaking on my ass. I don't know how to do heroin or whatever like that. But like it's not as good. It keeps on getting less and less, thrilling to make good content because it's not as good.
I think it's very exciting early on because you're reaching a lot of new people, and a lot of people are going to like it because they know you're new and that you probably do need the likes early on, especially to try and get bigger. But then, like, most of the time I don't like stuff. If I know someone, like, actually needs a like because it goes into something, then I do it. But I'm less likely to seek it out and make sure I'm actively liking each post. Yeah. Another thing is your suggested feed is based off of what you've liked.
You're right.
So I like things, if it's a musician I like and I'm watching a YouTube video, I'll like one or two of their songs just so I get more of their songs coming up. But even if I like the other songs that are coming up, I won't necessarily like sign into my phone just to like another one of their songs if I'm already getting it on my shuffle play anyway.
Gotcha. No, it's definitely give and take, but it's fun to do. I'm getting much better at animating stuff, and I definitely want to get into that realm a little bit more because you can definitely make your own world kind of and not have to like deal with the people around you. Because I'm just gonna say a lot of people flake. A lot of people don't want to be part of things when you're last night when you're drinking with them, and then the next day it's like
I think most people make plans like they have infinite time, or they like say what they'd want to do because it'd be better than doing nothing for sure. But then when it comes down to it, people don't choose to do stuff because it's economics. It's an opportunity cost. They can't do something else. So even though it's on their list, it's like so far down the list that new things just fill in ahead of it. It doesn't mean they don't want to do it, but until you schedule something, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to get people to commit to things. And this is just speaking recently again, but like I'd almost rather have the feeling of letting someone down than someone letting me down. Is that weird to say? Kind of.
I would definitely rather not let someone down.
Because it's in my control. Like I can control, like if something's happening for sure, I can make the decision whether I'm going to be part of it or not. But if like I'm waiting on someone else to do something with me, it's like this limbo of like anxiety.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's why I would rather not have that one though, because I would rather be the one that was like flaked on than flake on somebody else. Because I'd feel worse. It'd be more stressful to be the one you don't know if the person's gonna like.
But you're in control, and that's what makes it,
That's what I mean is I wouldn't want to take away someone else's control.
Anyway, we're going on 20 minutes, I think, which is usually when we go to like a little quick commercial break. But when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about what you're doing, what you're up to out in Colorado. Fortunately, I didn't get to see you when we were out there, but a lot of stuff's going on out there, so it's pretty exciting. Here is our sponsor. We're sponsored. Who are we sponsored by?
There's no one there.
Lumberjacks Touch LLC. That's who it is.
Tradition, honor, integrity, a respectable quarterly profit margins, and the mutual understanding of wood. These are some of the values we hold dear here at Lumberjacks Touch LLC. A family business born no more than seconds ago, but owned for generations, has mastered the art of farming free-range, non-GMO lumber. We aren't not like everyone else. Our natural wood is splinter and cage-free. Our premium lumber is split by only the gentlest of lumberjacks, Not only chopped with steel, but with the tender, soft touch of our lumber specialists. We take great honor in supplying the people with our non-GMO, preservative-free wood. Be aroused by the succulent vapors coursing through your nose to a simpler time. It's our family guaranteed that you experience the true touch of a lumberjack. When you, our dear customer, first ignite our tender kindling until the last burning ember fades into the night, you will experience the true touch of a lumberjack. Become a member of our family here at Lumberjacks Touch, LLC, where it's more than just wood, it's tradition. Vegan option coming this fall.
The lumber industry is not doing well, apparently. Not a lot of people are selling firewood. That's just what I got from
Buying or selling firewood?
buying. Which I think they are. That's why I kind of did the whole Lumberjacks Touch thing, because you walk around, at least in Bloomington, a lot of people have bonfires. There's not a lot of, you can't really go to bars and stuff, so a lot of people are chilling outside. It's nice outside. Why not have a fire? You know?
That is good. I mean, in a fire pit, you're going to be fine. But, like, there's a lot of places that are doing burn restrictions because of they don't want to have extra fires because of coronavirus. They don't want to have their emergency staff have to worry about, like, garden fires.
Gotcha. Yeah, no. Shout out to all the, first responders out there that are working at hospitals and.
I mean, for the most part, everyone's doing what they need to do, too. Even beyond, you can't thank medical professionals enough, obviously. But people who are staying home, that's how you're thanking them. Like, you're part of it, too. At least that's what I tell myself, because I've been staying home. But
I mean, a lot of people are and aren't. It's kind of... I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people be very overdoing it, and I think I'm in pretty much the middle of it. Like, I've hung out with some friends here and there. I'm not going to, party. Nobody's having parties, I would say. But, there's some, gatherings that are, a little bit too big for comfort, probably.
Definitely, but when you look at our country and how people typically are as far as this type of stuff, we're not a country that goes into quarantine very easily, which is, we're an adventurous country. Like, America has an adventurous spirit, so it makes sense.
Is Italy still in full quarantine?
I think
do you know anything about that? I don't know anything about
all
that.
the news just seem the same for so long that I'm not, day to day. I'm more week to week, if anything.
Yeah. Seems like every day there's, an announcement, and it's the same thing, though.
Yeah.
So, come on. All right, well, anyway, you're out in Colorado. You're part of a startup. Are you allowed to talk about this little startup?
Yeah, I can talk about it. One of my friends and two of my new friends, the three of them are all pilots. So two of them, when they were traveling in Tanzania, tried...
Where is Tanzania, by the way?
Tanzania is near Ethiopia. It's in East Africa.
Okay.
I think Kilimanjaro's in Tanzania.
It sounds like a Black Ops mission in Tanzania.
Well, we shouldn't talk about that, but they did climb Kilimanjaro while they were there, and one of the other things they did was they tried this drink. This guy offered them a drink in an old milk jug, and it was this kind of weirdish white color, and it did not look appetizing according to their telling the story, and they tried it, and it was delicious. And they're like, how have we not had this in the U.S.?
Is it milky, or is it a watery?
It's lightly carbonated because it's a fermented alcohol.
Okay.
And it's made from palm sap, but it's hard to... It's kind of like the texture of beer almost, if that makes sense. The one they had especially because it was...
Not like a soda fizzy, but like a little smaller fizzness.
Yeah, just like a light effervescence, not a lot.
Yeah.
But they're wondering how you couldn't have it in the U.S., why they hadn't had it before. And they started doing more research on it. And 1 billion people in the world drink it. Yeah, because in almost all tropical areas, it's in the Caribbean, it's in...
From pine sap, you say?
Palm
sap,
yep. Which are not the same trees that they make palm oil from.
Okay.
Palm oil is a serious issue. Yeah. So that's actually part of what this startup is trying to reduce and compete against it. They're economically incentivizing forests staying natural the way they are. But anyway, the reason that it wasn't popular for the other 5.5 or 6 billion people in the world was because the way it's harvested, they a tapper climbs up the tree and they cut inflorescent branches, which are like baby branches basically, that get a lot of the nutrients. So they cut that little branch off and they leave the tree intact. All the major producing leaves are still there, and they just hang a little bucket off of it, and it slowly drips palm sap into the bucket. And they do this for 12 hours during the day. Come get it. And it's naturally fermented because of the yeast in the air and the sugar in the drink, and it makes this alcoholic, like refreshing alcoholic beverage. But because it's natural yeast and it's not filtered, their case, they can't package and sell it because it would go bad. So what we've done is we've made it so it's shelf stable and people here can drink it.
Gotcha. You said it was a little bit like kombucha?
No, I would just...
Along the same process.
Yeah, like when you're going in to taste it, it's kind of like a little bit sour. Don't think Sour Patch Kids. I don't know.
Sour beers. Is that similar?
Yeah, but it's not as sour as sour beers.
Okay.
I personally love sour beers, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
And
I do too. I've grown to like them.
For me, this is replacing that. Like, I'm probably not going to choose sour beers over this because, well, it's healthier, it's better for the environment, it's helping the developing world more.
Sure.
So,
and it's good really for people like you that are active and like to have like a refreshing, not thick beer. Like
like the catch line we're using is naturally spirited because there's only one ingredient in the drink.
Mad Men?
Is it in Mad Men?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh.
But it's like something that would come from Mad Men.
I was like, I think they did copyright investigation on it and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
You ever watched Mad Men?
I've watched the episodes you showed me.
Oh. Makes me want to sit there and just have a cig in my mouth. I'm not a cig smoker whatsoever, but just the way they chain smoke those things, it's like, I kind of want one.
Yeah, that's why you shouldn't have one. Not even once.
Not even once. Same with the Juul, though. What is worse? You think Juuls are...
No, cigarettes are worse than Juuls.
You think so?
No, yeah. Juuls, the problem is they're accessible to younger people, like even younger than high schoolers. Like a kid can pick up a Juul and use it if it's not kept out of their way. And it's easier to chain smoke Juuls because if you smoke cigarettes and you go through an entire pack, you're like, wow, I just smoked an entire pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, you can
but
feel it.
I'm not a Juul user, so I don't really know. But
it's easy to hit throughout the day.
Yeah, and it's harder to track your usage.
For sure.
So like people ask me why I drink a ton of caffeine, like 12 cups a day. And
you drink 12 cups of coffee a day? Or
more sometimes, yeah. But
how?
Like this, but with coffee.
I saw a meme earlier today. It's like the captain. What's the one with it? It's like, I'm captain now. Captain whatever his name is.
Captain Crunch.
Tom Hanks plays it. Captain
Sully.
No. Oh. And it gets taken over by Ethiopian pirates.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
I threw the meme up, and it's like, no, I'm coffee now, and it's like a beer, and it's like, I'm coffee now. It's like,
oh, for quarantine?
Yeah. I'm getting tired of drinking though.
I don't drink that much.
Drinking a lot this quarantine, just like everybody else. Probably not more than anybody else, or than I did in the past. Anyway, no, I'm interested in seeing where that goes.
Me too.
What is it called?
It's called Akos White because it has like this whitish flavor, but
okay, it's
like lightly carbonated. It's made from a single ingredient that's produced. We're getting it from Cambodia.
What's the alcohol content?
About 4.5%. So it's kind of in that beer range. For me, like yesterday, I ran 15 miles and I was tired afterwards, and I just wanted something to like relax. But all we had to choose between was like a light beer and a coffee stout. Yeah. And normally I like stouts, but obviously after running that much, it was not the right choice. But I wish I had Akos White for that because it's just the perfect thing to kind of chill, and you don't want a lot of alcohol after you've finished a long run. Yeah. So it's a good way to celebrate an accomplishment of the day. Like, not a big deal. You're not going crazy, but just being like, yeah, I worked hard today. So whether it's climbing or skiing or trail running.
And people have to worry about their weight and what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's less calorie, right?
The thing is, the people that are going to be drinking this are probably concerned about being healthy, but they're also so active that I don't know if it's as much. It is fine for your weight. Like, it doesn't have a bunch of extra calories beyond, like I said, it's one simple ingredient.
What's the chuggableness? Is it chuggable? Can you chug
It's
it?
not designed for chugging.
No shotgun in these beers.
I think you could. There's no reason you couldn't.
Aqua's white.
There's no reason you couldn't, but it's not for that.
Okay. Well, that's the only thing I'm concerned about.
So maybe you won't drink it. That's a shame.
I would try it. I'm always down to try new alcohols, new foods. I'm very open to new things.
Yep, it's going to be in Denver this summer, so when you come out, I'll let you try something.
Yeah, for sure. If anything's open anymore.
Well, I can get you some even if nothing's open, Sean.
Well, I'm definitely looking to go. Our ski trip got canceled when I was out there, but Copper Mountain gave me a 3-day pass. A 4-day pass for free on top of the pass I already bought. Which is cool because I actually bought it for the next season, so I bought it incorrectly anyway. But no, they gave me a free pass, so I'll definitely come out and snowboard and hopefully go to Red Rocks. But you're getting your PhD, man.
Yep.
That's pretty crazy. Because, I mean...
They don't call me Crazy Joe for nothing.
I know like one other person like off the top of my head that's getting a PhD. And that's kind of saying something.
I know a lot of people.
Maybe that's not in the crowd I'm in. I'm in the drinking crowd.
Yeah, I mean...
Speaking of that, who has a beer? There's no one down here. Who am I talking to? In materials engineering.
I do metallurgy now.
That's what it's called.
My undergrad was in materials, but...
So you take rocks and melt them down and hammer them and...
You hammer them to make them smaller first.
Oh.
So you break them down and then you do different processes. So you might have to sort them first too. Pretty much always have to sort them. And then you get a concentrate of what you want. And then you process that using some sort of chemical processing.
Got you.
Which could be like either fire or...
I'll add some sort of flow chart.
I could get you a flow chart.
Yeah. I'll just make one up. That'd
be funnier, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Not accurate. But
yeah, you make metal from rock.
Really? Mm-hmm. And that's called alchemy.
Yeah, that's called alchemy. It used to be. But now it's just called metallurgy, extractive metallurgy.
Didn't alchemy have some sort of stereotype of like making fake gold or something?
So different alchemies, like Eastern versus Western alchemy, and then different phases of each, had their own targets. So a lot of Eastern alchemy was for immortal life, and then that's also present in Western. Like the Philosopher's Stone is an alchemy thing that was adopted by J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter. So the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, gotcha.
That's an alchemy concept.
Okay.
And her symbol that she used for the three...
Yeah, the wand and the...
For the wand, invisibility cloak, and the Death Stone or whatever.
Yeah.
The symbol she used is an alchemy symbol. So I see them all over the place and I get really excited. And I like Harry Potter, but I think they're alchemy symbols and I'm like, oh, it's just a Harry Potter fan.
Gotcha. Isn't that the Odessa thing too? Is it like a triangle with a
No,
circle
I think
on?
that's like a platonic solid or something.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's a cool shape.
Yeah,
that's more of a mathematical than alchemical concept. But
gotcha. So why materials engineering or metallurgy?
Metallurgy.
Why
Metallurgy, I like it.
Yeah.
It's really, I love chemistry, especially inorganic chemistry. Organic chemistry just seems like it's like a book that they just keep writing. It never ends. Whereas metallurgy, there's finite combinations you can get of inorganic compounds. So it's kind of elegant with what you can get as far as like potential chemistries.
Gotcha.
But then the processing and the challenge of trying to purify and refine all these different elements from each other. Because there's like 10 or 20 different elements in something. And copper, like electrical wire copper, is 6/9 pure. So like 99.9999%
just
copper. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's important for its behavior as far as conducting goes.
That is so beyond my expertise, though. I mean, so when you went to Purdue and you graduated Purdue with just engineering, what was it?
Materials engineering.
Materials engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that in the past you graduated how long ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2019, 18.
Do you think those 4 years of Purdue, you've learned more than the last 2 years of just being specifically in your College of Mines?
It's hard to say. I mean, I
I feel like I didn't learn anything, and now all these online classes are coming in, and I feel like everybody's just sitting around paying barely attention. Do you think that's gonna affect like people going to school or not? Like everything's online already. If you're gonna learn it, learn it. And
It's not the same learning online. If you ask any of the professors who are teaching online right now, who had to do this transition, so first off, virtual classes are not the same as online classes, and we have to understand that when like looking at our professors, if they're seem like they're phoning it in a little bit, it's because it's a ton of work to do a virtual class. They're not set up to do online, so they have to. Taking an online class is more than a full course load for a professor. So that's part of it, but I think this will prove that in-person interaction is really where you learn the most. Because I learn a lot of my classes, but a lot of it I forget. It's like stored somewhere, but I can't just recall it instantly. Like I have to refresh myself if I want to use that. Most of my Purdue education, like I did calculus and DiffyQ and all the math courses, I need to look it up if I'm going to do it again. Like I don't just have it.
Yeah.
And I took symmetry operations and crystallography and quantum mechanics. I don't like have that stuff off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I could look it up again, and that's kind of, it gave me a good baseline. It gave me a good base. But
I'm not taking anything away from going to school and going to university, because I definitely think from Purdue compared to IU obviously is a business school, and they have the whole networking aspect of it and interacting with people and communicating.
Engineering is much more of a networking thing than people realize. A lot of engineers don't do that much networking, but my field's very small, so it's easy to know pretty much all the big names in your field, like personally, and have talked to them.
And I'm sure that helps.
It helps because when you don't know something, you can call someone, and it's actually very like collaborative because it's so small. But other engineering fields can gain a lot from behaving similarly, and I'm sure many people in those fields do. And it is who you know. Networking is important in engineering as well as business.
Sure. I'm not saying taking anything away from engineering. I just say I think IU definitely banks on, you come to IU, you have all these social interactions. Their business students, have interactions with 1,000 other business students they interact with on the daily. Not daily, but, throughout the course of their 4 years, 5 years if they're in the masters. But I definitely agree with you that in-person interaction is way more valuable than online. But half the time throughout college, I was just sitting there saying, like, dang, I'm really just teaching myself all this stuff online. I'm going to class, and talking to teachers definitely was the most beneficial. But, you're a college kid, and I wasn't the most, outgoing student, going to office hours or whatever. But office hours were the point where you're, learning what you're doing.
Yeah, I think class sizes are too big. If you're in a 400-person class, it doesn't matter if you're doing it online or in person. Because the professor doesn't know who you are, and it doesn't really matter that much. So I agree when you're talking about those classes, more stuff will be online. But when it really comes down to, you have to know this to be in your field, they need small classes, and maybe that's the solution, is if you're in a 16-hour or 15-hour credit hour semester, you have 2 classes, 6 credit hours in person, and they're smaller, and then your other 9 credit hours are online, more supplemental, and you do online. And that way, in the classes you attend,
it's more personal.
It's more personal because each professor only has to teach 1 class a semester, but they have to teach 3 groups for a cohort of 90 people.
And they're probably better at teaching it then,
Yes, I think potentially that could be a good solution. I'm not in education,
I'm not
so
sure.
I don't know.
Me either, I don't know. I just know I was not really. I have my econ degree, but it's what did I really even do? I don't even know. I kind of dismiss it. I'm sure I learned more than I thought. But anyway, you're not really a big sports guy, but the draft happened the past few days. I know you're a big sports guy, but not as much in the field as probably me and my friends.
Right.
An interesting thing that's been going on Twitter was the amount of investigative family business that goes into a draft pick. So you just see all the things this kid's mom had cancer or whatever, and he worked his way up, and he did this for his mom, But it got to a point where it's that's where the meat, that's where the entertainment was. It wasn't in the stats anymore. It was what's going on? What's fucked up about this family?
There's not. So if you watch any show also, American Ninja Warrior, every person that goes far has their personal story told too, and every single TV show is like that as well. Like from The Bachelor to, I don't know, other reality TV shows.
So you're saying my family's just too,
No, I think they spin it to make it more interesting too. They're telling a story. Everyone's life is interesting if you like look at the right parts, right? Everyone has something that's interesting to them and is worth hearing about and can entertain people. But statistics, if you played on one team versus another team, your like stats, like your actual completions as a quarterback, all that stuff, it doesn't correlate very well because you could be playing with no talent or you could be playing with a ton of talent.
For sure.
So, like your 40 time, that says a lot. Your like the combine statistics, those are pretty cool. Yeah.
Gotcha. And also like where you came from, I guess, is that's where the entertainment is though. Like I said. But it's like the dunk contest.
People want to connect.
What is entertaining about the dunk contest anymore?
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, like another impressive dunk. Not taking anything away from the show in the athleticism of that dunk, but it's like we've seen these things over and over again. We've seen people run a 4.40. Is that a great time? I'm not even sure.
4.4 would be. I mean, I can't do a 4.4.
That's pretty good. Pretty sure that's pretty good.
If you had a wide receiver, you could get like 4.3.
What's the fastest time?
4.1, 4.2. Fastest ever?
Fastest ever.
I don't think anyone's broke.
I ran a 2.6 in college.
2.6.20.
I was very slow. I ran in I played football for 1 year. And I think I ran like a 6-second 40 or something. And my coach was like, "You got to redo that because that doesn't seem right to me." Okay, the fastest 40 yard was 4.22.
Okay.
Besting Chris Johnson's 4.24. Which is pretty impressive. John Ross.
That's interesting, but it's not a story.
It's not a story, yeah.
People want to connect, though. That's why they tell you about the human. Because then you can actually connect to the people. And then you feel like you're part of it because you know the stuff about the person, which gives you like this kind of fake intimacy with them.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm happy to do this podcast because I really like doing them. I really want to do podcasts with, similar people like you because I like learning and, sitting here watching Netflix all day is not a fun thing for me. But anyway, thank you for being part of this, and hopefully I'll come out to Colorado and see you and do something like this again in the future.
Sounds good.
Yeah, this is the 11th podcast. It's not even a fucking podcast. Also, that's the only F word I threw in. I threw in 2 F words, I think, this episode, which is pretty impressive because usually I'm,
at least 4.
I'm sub-machine, at least 4, yeah. What's the over-under? That's what you can bet on. What's the over-under on?
It'd be fun to start doing.
Sean's F word.
I think people would guess that if you were doing this with me, you'd probably say fewer.
Fewer, for sure, than Brandon. I say a lot more than Brandon. I'm a cursor. What can I say? Anyway, thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Next time we can talk about climbing and tattoos.
Oh, for sure. We missed that. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Brandon, like I said, right now it's just the S show, the shit show. But it's been pretty good. I'm impressed. So thank you everybody. Stay quarantined.